to show you here is a lovely ceramic inkwell. This is a late Victorian inkwell. Would have held the ink in here. Children would have had to dip quills that were made out of wood with metal nibs, or really early in the era, they might have used feather quills, into here to practice their handwriting. And we know this is from the end of the Victorian period because schools weren't compulsory until 1880 and they didn't become free until 1891. And before that, what sort of education a child got very much depended on their family. If you were from a wealthy family, your family would employ a governess to teach girls and boys from about 5 until they were about 10. And at that point, the boys might go on to a public school like Eton, where they would learn functional, scholarly things like maths, they would learn leadership, and they would learn to speak confidently to prepare them for their future. Even if you were rich, if you were a girl, you would stay at home. You wouldn't go to school at that point. Instead, you would learn things like drawing, music, needlework, and sewing, which were considered to be the important things a woman needed to know to be a good wife. Now, on the other hand, if you were poor, you probably worked in a factory from a very, very young age if you lived in an urban area. And actually, until the 1833 Factory Act, children were working 13-hour days. And in 1833, the government restricted this for children between 9 and 13 to work only 9-hour days, and they had to have 2 hours schooling a day. That doesn't mean it was free, and often families lied about their children's age to get them out of having to do the schooling. But in 1844, a second Factory Act was passed that said that they had to have 3 hours schooling a day, and under 13s were only allowed to work 6.5 hours. They would do that 6 days a week. So education through the period becomes more important. You have things called ragged schools, which are free schools. It's the only way poor children would ever be taught, and wealthy Victorians gave money to fund these schools. And eventually, in 1870 and then 1880, schools become national and they become compulsory.